This Wednesday night, we have a world-class boxing triple header live on Main Event television, headlined by the Australian and Australasian heavyweight title fight between Paul Gallen and Kris Terzievsky. And before all that, the two heavyweights have joined me here today to have a quick chat to each other. We all know Paul Gallen. Kris Terzievsky, welcome to the big time. You're an established boxer, but are you ready for all of this and to go under the big lights against Paul Gallen?
Yeah, mate. Thanks for having me. It's definitely a great experience being on the big stage, riding this big wave. I'm enjoying the moment. Training's been going really well, and looking forward to next Wednesday.
Gal, after your fight against Justice Hooney, you said no more proper boxers. Well, this is a proper boxer, and you were asked about this fight, and you didn't need to be asked twice. What have you seen that makes you so confident you win this fight?
When I was first asked about it, I said I wouldn't. I think when you have a look at my record of blokes that I've fought, Hunt, Brown, Hooney, guys like that, I'm not afraid of a challenge, that's for sure. The only time I've seen this guy box was when he fought Django back in 2019, I think it was. That's the only time I'd seen him box, so I hadn't seen any other fights. I was asked about the fight, I'm up for a challenge. I knew his record, I knew he had an amateur pedigree, and I'm happy to challenge myself and have a go.
So the only time you saw him fight was his only professional loss. What did you make of what
that's right,
you saw?
and I've seen him fight since then. David Tuilawa, I think is the other fight I've seen him fight. I thought Django took it to him, which is what I'm going to do. Took it to him, pressured him, he didn't like it, didn't handle it, and that's why I'm going to approach his fight. I mean, he's a boxer. He's a boxer, he's a pure boxer. He's got that real amateur style for me. He's a pretty boxer. He's fast, he's in and out. He's got a lot of movement, a lot of footwork, a lot of head movement. But he doesn't like the pressure.
Was that a fair comment, that you didn't like the pressure against Django Opolu, your only professional loss?
Yeah, I think it's a sort of fair statement. You're in there sort of going hard. He was the better man on that night. But I've taken a lot from that loss. I think as Gal would have taken from his loss as well, I think it's those things that can define you. And I sort of had a rough night in the office that night. In the next fight that Gal saw against that Dave Tuilawa, he was a big tough boy as well. He caught me with a heavy shot early, and I was able to face that adversity. I come through it, and ended up stopping him in the third round. So I think there's lessons to take from everything, and I definitely learnt some lessons in that loss. And I'll be looking to implement all the things I've learnt, against Gal, against that come forward style, and we'll see how I deal with it.
Does it give you confidence that you saw what happened in that fight against Django? He says that he's changed, he's a different fighter now, he's improved. Do you believe that?
No, I don't believe he'll ever change their spot, so to speak. This is a hard one because he seems like a nice guy. I don't know him, seems like a nice guy. He's Macedonian. I'm involved in the Macedonian Rugby League at the moment, so I've got a soft spot for all the Macedonians, but I've got to go in there. I've got a job to do. I've got a job to do next Wednesday night, and I've got to find where he's soft, and I think there's a bit of softness in him. I saw it that night against Django. I saw it against Tuilawa. He does not like pressure, and I know he would have trained everything and thought he trained everything to get ready for it and get ready for me coming forward. But the fact is, mate, there's just no one like me in Australian boxing. There's just none. You can't find one bloke like me. You might need two or three guys, and whether he's been able to do that, I'm not sure. I haven't been part of his camp. I don't know, but I'm going to be constantly pressuring him, constantly on him, and just in his face. And look, I know he's faster. I know he's a good boxer. But the trouble is when you're walking backwards for 3 minutes, round after round after round, and when you're hitting the other bloke with your best shots and he's not going anywhere, it messes with your head. And that's what's going to happen on Wednesday night.
You said soft. You've had more than just soft to say in some of the media comments over the course of this week. You called him a soft.
Yeah, I think there's an element of soft in there. I think he's soft. I think there is. I think I saw that in Django. I saw that in Tuilawa. Tuilawa ran out of puff in one round, and you just picked him apart. And you done well. You done what you had to do. No doubt about that. But I just think with my
broke
motor,
his nose.
Yeah, you probably did, mate, because he stood still. He stood still, didn't move. He was like a puncher bag for you. That's what he was. I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to be the puncher bag. Just sit still and cop your shots left, right, and centre. I'm going to be constantly moving, constantly pressuring you, and just making you feel like you're drowning. To be honest.
You've got to respond, Kris. You've just had Paul Gallen call you a soft. What do you want to say?
Yeah, look, he can say what he wants to say. In terms of that, I've been told, my coach said to me, he's like, one thing he said, and it sort of stuck with me, is like, you drink out of mugs, you don't fall into them. So, Gal can say what he wants to say, and that's all good. Yeah, in terms of the preparation, I have been having a lot of guys come up and their instruction has simply been go in there and try and take his head off, which I think that's what Gallen's going to try and do. I've got things for, I think Gallen is, as much as he's very tough and he's come forward, he's very competitive. Another element is I think he's very clever as well, to make it where he has and to do what he's doing at the moment. You've got to be clever, and I think when you're constantly taking shots over and over, there's an element of preservation in there as well. So I think at the age he's at, he's got a beautiful family, and you want to be in this game. He's only going to retire, I think, at the end of the year, you were saying. So there's going to be things like that. Again, you would have learnt from Justice when you're in there. Credit to you, man. There's constant punishment that you kept taking over and over. And me personally, I wouldn't want to be doing that at 40 years of age, jumping back in again and taking that kind of punishment. So credit to you, all respect. But yeah, that's what I'm going to look to be doing, because for me, this is my opportunity. I'm very, very grateful that I have had the opportunity on this platform this guy's an NRL legend. He's done a lot for the sport of boxing as well, brought a lot of eyeballs to the sport, which someone like me coming up from nothing, to have an opportunity of this magnitude, it's going to do a lot for my career. And win, lose or draw. Look, I know Gallen, he's a serious competitor. After the fight, I hope he does well and he's set himself up in his future. And ultimately, that's what I want to try and do with this fight and getting a win for this with this fight.
You've been very respectful there, but you've also essentially said that he's due more punishment in this fight. Is that the plan? Do you see him as a bloke you can just pick off?
Yeah, well, look, mate, I don't see myself as a mean person or a nasty person, but when we get in there, it's not a tickling contest, I know Gallen's exactly what he's saying. He's going to get in my face, sit on my chest and try and rough me up. So I'm going to be looking to do the same. I think we've got different attributes and different skill sets. We're going to go about it in a different way. But like he said before, he's going to try and beat the shit out of me, and I'm going to try and do the same.
What did you see in Paul Gallen's fight with Justice Serrano? You mentioned the fight. You said he took a lot of punishment, but what did you watch that night?
Gallen said he likes challenges. I saw a brave competitor, went in there, but ultimately he came up against a better fighter that was able to do more damage than he was able to inflict. You can talk about a big heart. We saw a fight on the weekend. It was Oscar Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson. He's a tough, skilled southpaw against a really tough Mexican with a massive heart. And I think by the end of it, I think his comments were after it because he was just too skillful. He just had a bit too much. So that's hopefully what I'm trying to bring to the contest next week.
Do you believe what you're hearing from Kris today? Do you think he believes what he's saying?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I do. I think he believes he's more skillful, and I've got to be honest, I know he's more skillful, but he doesn't have what I've got inside him. He doesn't have my heart, he doesn't have my mindset, he doesn't have the ability to cop some punishment. I'm not there to cop punishment. I'm not there to get hit shot after shot and just let you pick me off. I promise you, I won't be just standing there. So I believe that he's prepared for that. But what he's going to find out in front of him next Wednesday night is going to be something a little bit different. There's a lot of elements of what he's saying is true. It's going to be a little bit different, and I just don't think he's going to be able to handle it. What
about the occasion? Do you think Kris coming from where he has in Australian boxing onto this big stage, is there a chance that gets to him?
A chance? I'm not too sure. I think, I've got to be honest, once he gets in the ring, it's probably his... he may feel safe there. It might be his home, so to speak. He might feel chilled out there, whereas all this is new to him, all the rest of it's new to him. Maybe he's not coping with the rest of it, which may impact him on the night, no doubt about it. There's a lot to deal with in the next week. But I believe once he gets in the ring, he'll be okay, and I think it's going to be a tough fight. And look, may the better man win on the night. I'm under... when we finish, when the bell goes, when we finish, I'll be more than happy to shake hands. But until then, we've both got a job to do. We both want to win. No matter what we say here, no matter what we say tomorrow, it's going to impact the way we go about the fight. We're both going to try and hurt each other. And
I think you saw it just the other week. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano had a similar sit-down like this. And they put on one of the best shows in Madison Square Garden. It was the best female fight in history. So, like Gal said, he called me a soft before and he was a bit staunch in that last media thing. But we're going to come to fight at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I believe it's a gentleman's sport. Sometimes, I've been told Gal might not be as gentlemanly in these type of things, but I'm looking forward to him. This is ultimately we're testing ourselves here. We're athletes, we're competitors. He wants to see what he's got against a slick southpaw. I want to test myself. You know, like I said, I've done my due diligence. I've tried to learn from that last defeat. So if I've got another guy coming forward doing the same thing, I want to see how I've tried to adapt, what adjustments I've tried to make. So it's going to be a great fight. We're both going to leave it all out there. And then, yeah, like he said, I'm going to shake his hand, you know. We'll maybe have a beer at the back and that'll be it, you know. But hopefully, at the end of the day, my hand gets raised, not yours. And yeah, we'll just see how we go.
You've tried to get into the head of most of your opponents in recent times. Sometimes it's worked to great effect. You're being reasonably quietly spoken here today, but is there more to come? Is there more through the course of next week? Do you think there's a weakness there?
I do think there's a weakness there. I genuinely think there's a weakness there. I think there's an element of softness in here. I've seen him quit before. And once you quit, once you're going to quit again. I've seen it. I've said that. I've said he's a soft I'm going to say it again. Okay, but he's a nice guy. He's sitting here being nice. How can you sit here and just throw shit at him for the sake of it? It's just not worth it. Now, he's a nice guy. And as I said, at the end of the fight, I'll shake his hand and we'll be fine. There's no issues at the end of the fight. But I've seen him quit. I've seen him quit before, and I'm going to find it again next Wednesday night. That's the whole point of this. I've seen him quit against Django. I've seen him fall against Tualoa, and I'm going to find that again, and I'll make it happen next Wednesday night.
Is there quit there?
I don't think so. You know, like I've got my reasons for that fight. I kept getting up after I got put down. You know, it was my coach's call. Live to fight another day. But you know, he was talking about the Massos, mate. We've got that Masso spirit. And I think the boys might give him a bit of stick when he goes to training if I get a win. So I know he'll be trying hard so he doesn't cop that. But this is what it's about. This is about finding out what we've got inside as well. You know, it's a test for me on a big platform. You know, not many people get to say they're doing this. So that's why, like I said, I'm riding this big-ass wave. And would you fight Gal? Would you jump in and test yourself against Gal?
I don't think people want to see me fight Gal, mate. You are fighting him next week.
We're in a small percentage of people that are willing to do this on such a big stage. So there's all respect there. But I'm going to show him the fighting spirit that I got, just like I know he's going to show me the fighting spirit that he's got. And a
lot on the line here too, in both of your sporting careers. But for you, you're the Australasian champion. You could be the Australian champion as well. But it's also your introduction to this big stage. What does a victory against Paul Gallen mean to you?
It means a lot, mate. It means a lot. Like, I think I already made history. I was a pretty big football star, Craigieburn Eagles, from all the way from under 10s to a senior footy player. So going through that path and then winning the Australasian title, I'm going to take that one off Gal. But I know he was talking shit about AFL as well, potting the AFL. We're not going to like that back in Melbourne. But yeah, it's a massive incentive as well. I heard about that in 100 years, first person to hold an Australasian Australian title simultaneously in the heavyweight division. So that's my little carrot dangled in front of me as well. I think after the 2-year pandemic and not being able to compete for so long, I've taken a lot from boxing. You know, the people that you meet, it is a bit of a shady game, but I've met some great people along the way and it's helped develop me as a person. So for me, I think all that's left to do is to collect a few accolades, you know, and getting an Australian title would be something I'd love to do, and then obviously progress from there. And he wants to do the same, you know. I know you were saying you don't fight for titles, but having a nice cool belt there to show your kids will be a good thing too. So we've got a bit to fight for here, and I think we're both going to come out guns blazing.
Gal, you're fighting against the footy star.
Yeah.
Mate, you come to Craigieburn, you'll see.
It's Craigieburn. What age you finish?
It's in the backyards of nowhere.
Exactly. Come on, mate. Yeah, look, mate, I think next I hear he's playing rugby union. Next I hear that. So I hope everyone from Melbourne tunes in and watches what a former rugby league player is a bit tougher than your game, tunes in and watches me kick your ass.
Yeah, give us your thoughts on that. Rugby league against AFL, as it's just been positioned.
Let's be honest, they're different sports. Totally different sports, totally different athlete. You can't compare the two, to be honest. It's not comparable. It's a bit of fun, but yeah, they're different athletes altogether.
Australian title, you've fought for it before. You haven't won it yet, though. What would it mean in your glorious sporting career? Yeah,
it'd be good something at the end of my career. I'm right at the back end of my career now. This may be my last fight. I don't know. Not too sure. But to be able to fight for it again, I've fought 3 times, 3 Australian champions in Brown, obviously Hooney and Hopper. and only fought for the title once. So to be able to fight for it again, second time, will be great. You know, I've had the opportunity to fight for once before and never got the result, obviously. And the Australasian title, there's been no crossover star to ever win it, ever. You go back to the guys like Mundine, they've never won it. And it's just coincided. It's a little bit of luck that we were able to fight for both these titles, because you know, in boxing, things have got to fall in the right place and come together at the right time. And we just got lucky that, you know, Goodall and Hooney are fighting in a month's time. So that's why the Australian title's now up for grabs. So we're both very, very lucky we're able to fight for both these titles, and to win it right at the back end of my career would be something pretty special, to be honest.
Do you see any boxing skill in what Paul Gallen has done so far, or do you just see him as a tough footy player who comes forward and has overwhelmed some people?
Yeah, of course. You got to have a bit of ability to make it to where he's made it. You know, beating a former world champion, you know, legendary fighter like Mark Hunt. There takes a skill element in that as well, but. I think I remember Gallen talking about the Hunt fight. He had a game plan of sticking and moving, and then when it got tough, he reverted back to what he knew. He sat on his chest and wore him out and beat him up. So there's definitely a skill factor there, but I think I'm prepared for that as best I can. You know what I mean? It's a nice quick double jab, an overhand right. There's elements of danger in everything that, you know, it's the heavyweight division. You know, he lands a clean shot. We saw it against Lucas Brown and others. You land a clean shot, that can be the end of you. So I'll be cautious, calculated, and doing the best I can do.
You've got to outbox Paul Gallen, don't you? If you get dragged into a fight with him, that's where he wants to be.
Yeah. Well, look, I think anyone that gets in the ring is tough. But in this instance, it's not about showing me how tough you are. It's showing me about how smart you are. You know, I'm not going to let my balls take over, let the crowd hear everything, the roars of the crowd, and stand there and try and have a toe-to-toe with Paul Gallen, because I'm going to fall right into his hands. I think that's playing into his strengths. You know, I'm going to sit behind a nice stiff jab and work my game plan.
Any chance he can stay away from you and box, or do you think inevitably you get next to him? Inevitably, I'll get to him. Yeah, no doubt about it. He looks fit. He looks strong. He's going to stick and move, but walking backwards 3 minutes round after round is going to be hard. It's going to be real hard. I've done it training myself, and it's very, very hard. It's a good way to get fit real quick, but yeah, doing it in a fight when someone's trying to hurt you, it's tough. And I think eventually I'll get to him.
I think Gal's 100% spot on with what he's saying there too. It is taxing moving backwards all the time. So that's what I've said in this. I think, you know, in the past, maybe I've looked to avoid these situations as best I can, but there is going to be times where I'm going to have to stand there and fight, just like there's going to be times where he's going to have to stand there and box, you know. And I think whoever wins those moments the most, ultimately is going to get their hand raised. But I'm not going to be running the whole time. You know, there's going to be times I'm going to sit there and stand there.
Stand there and punch on. Stand there and get it done.
There's going to be elements of that in the fight, and then there's obviously going to be times where I'll use my skills and box off the back foot. But I think you're right. If you're just running the whole time, you know, there's ring generalship and then there's running, and I don't think that's sustainable for 10 rounds, especially we've had a pretty short prep for this fight, you know. So I'll be standing there at times, we'll be trading, and then there'll be times where he's going to have to fall into some traps that I'm going to set as well.
Do you think he's got any power?
Oh, he's got 80% knockout record, yeah. So he's definitely looked at heavyweights. Everyone over 100 kilos can punch. I don't care. You cop a shot on the chin from a heavyweight, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt and going to rock you, no matter what. And that's been proven in the past. Been proven by a lot of people. If you catch someone in the right spot, you're in trouble. So, yeah, I think he has the ability to hurt me. Whether he can or not, that's another thing. I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to allow it to happen. I'm going to have my hands up, head movement. I've got plenty of movement as well. I know how much this guy moves. This guy probably moved more than anyone I've ever fought. Probably more than anyone I've sparred, to be fair. But that zaps you. That's taxing. That's taxing. He says he wants to sit and trade at times. Yeah, we'll see.
Where does he rank, do you think, against some of the opponents you've had in recent times? Justice Hooney, Mark Hunt, Lucas Brown?
Oh, look, it's hard to know. I suppose I'll be able to let you know after it. But, I mean, I'll look at his record. I'll look at his record, and I think there's no one on there I wouldn't fight. And to be beaten by Django the way you're beaten by him, I think that shows there's an element of quit there. He says his trainer threw in the towel. Well, that's fine. But at the end of the day, it reflects on you. You as a person, you as a fighter, and that's where I'm taking my confidence from. That he's quit before, and through pressure. And you've got to remember that was after 5 rounds. We've got 10 rounds to get through. So it's going to be a big ask for him. Big ask for both of us, let's be honest. But I just look at his record. He's got a pretty padded record. He's big guys, 1 win, 3 losses, guys like that. You know, so I think I think my record, while I've fought some NRL players, I've also fought a lot of football players and people with combat sport experience, and probably more than me, to be fair. And I've always come through.
When you visualise the end of the fight, is that what you see, him quitting?
Either quitting or me getting to him and him hitting the ground. Yeah, one of them two things. Yeah, it's one of them two things. If I can get to him and keep applying enough pressure and have him on the ropes, I'll be able to finish him. But hopefully I'm able to do that round after round after round, and then eventually he'll quit. One or the other. I don't care. I just want to win. Doesn't matter how I win. Can I outbox him? Probably not. I've got to be honest.
Try to do that.
Try to outbox him, mate. You're not going to be dumb. I'm not going to be dumb. So we're not stupid people. I think we've both established that, and that's not my game. I can't do it. I can't outbox him. I've said that from the start. I'm not faster. I'm not more skillful than him. I know that. But I'm tougher than him. I'm more resilient. And I pressure him.
If you do win this fight, it could be the end of Paul Gallen's sporting career. Does that add motivation, inspiration for you?
No. For me, I'm looking at Paul Gallen as a good opponent, but for me, it's irrelevant. Like I'm just trying to be the best version of myself, give 100% in the contest, and prove myself right. You know what I mean? He's saying some things there, and I've got something to prove just as much as he does. You know what I mean? So if it is the last fight, I wish him all the best. Like I said, he's done a lot for Australian boxing. He's put a lot of good young athletes on the map just with his presence. So hopefully he can put another good young athlete on the map after May 11th. And
when you visualise the end of this fight, what is it you see?
I see myself, if Paul can take my shots, I see myself landing some really solid, strong shots. If he can take them, I can see myself, he's very tough and he's very strong. I can see myself boxing to a shutout decision. I can see it being a bit of a back and forth, and I can see myself knocking him out. There's a million different ways that I can get my hands raised in this one. But if I'm being honest, like I said, I can see it being a tough 10-rounder that I can win on points. Or if I catch him clean, I see some hard shots catching him clean. Like we said, it's heavyweight division. We can get each other out of there. First time the two of you have met today. Have you learnt anything about who Kris is?
It's way too nice, man. He's way too nice. He's way too nice. It's hard to sit here and... Yeah, look, it doesn't matter what we sit here and say, but we're both going to try and kill each other next Wednesday night. But he's a hard guy to hate right now.
What about you? Have you learnt anything about Gal?
Yeah, well, I was expecting a little bit more shit thrown at me, actually. I'm actually quite relieved. But like he said, you can be cordial, you can be... This is a gentleman's sport, and I appreciate the fact that we've been able to conduct ourselves that way. But I'm going to try and hit Gal with some hard, precise, spiteful shots, and he's going to do the same to me. You know, this is the hurt business at the end of the day. So may the best man win. I wish you nothing but the best, but I'm coming for the win.
Well, we've had a good conversation here today. I think things will probably fire up tomorrow at this press conference and at the weigh-in on Tuesday as well. But before we get there, anything finally to say to each other to warm us up into fight week?
No, I'm good. As I said, mate, I'll just get it in, get it done, stand there, trade off, and at the end of the day, shake hands and move on.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Thanks for the opportunity. May the best man win.
Cheers.
It's a big fight. It's a heavyweight title bout, and it headlines a massive triple header that you'll see on Main Event this Wednesday night. I'm Ben Damon. I'll see you at the fights.